a niche one, this one. Poets and artists, anyone who's drawn, written or said something they are proud of, will you promise to find the beauty in complicated life and show it to the newlyweds and give them new lights in which to see each other?
I will.
Leaders in law and finance, people who make society more than a glint in a caveman's eye. Will you promise to help the newlyweds understand their place in the world and help them to see the practical world, pulling them out of their eternal honeymoon?
I will. Guests who build things, architects, carpenters, engineers, programmers, crafters, Lego geniuses, will you promise to look with an appraising eye at the life of these newlyweds and the one that they are building together, inspecting for strength and flexibility and for beauty in design? I will. Come on, architects.
Oh, well, you're good at Lego.
I will, yeah.
Performers and public figures, people who know that private thoughts have public faces. Will you promise to help the newlyweds find their one public face that expresses their private thoughts? 2 actors in 1 character. I will.
Guests who care for others, people who save lives or make them richer, will you promise to help the newlyweds grasp your generosity and selflessness in caring for each other?
I will.
Guests from the countryside, living out of the soil, will you promise to teach Bri and Jonny how to nurture and tend each other, how to tame the wilderness in each other?
I will.
Guests from cities, surrounded by strangers with all their stories, will you promise to help Jonny and Bri turn strangers into friends, always looking outward for inspiration and help when they just want to make one little room and everywhere?
I will. Lovers, those embroiled in passionate affairs of the heart, will you promise to help Bri and Jonny ride the tempests and neither hide or get lost from them?
I will.
Warriors, those who know when they are right and who direct their passion at protecting it, will you promise to teach Jonny and Bri the rules of engagement so that they can protect each other and not sacrifice their passion to an easy time?
I will.
Wise guests, will you promise to show Bri and Jonny when best to use their wisdom? Always helping each other and never to score points, except in pub quizzes.
I will.
Silly guests, will you promise to keep Jonny and Bri's marriage from becoming an artfully shot black and white romance and throw coloured paint and joy at their lives?
I will.
Happy guests, will you promise to do nothing more than stay happy and keep your laughter infectious?
I will.
Okay, a meta promise to finish up with. All guests, will you promise to keep these promises and to see the joy in the newlyweds' eyes and to celebrate them and celebrate with them and keep these celebrations going tonight for as long as your stamina allows? And even if you celebrate so hard that you're a poor witness and have only a dim memory of the promises you made, will you promise to find out from fellow guests the promises you made?
I will. Oh, well
Good.
done. Well done.
We'd now like the families of Bri and Jonny to make some promises. These 2 families with very different temperaments on very different adventures, united merely by unconditional love. Will you promise to keep showing Jonny and Bri what unconditional love means? By calling them out when they are wrong, by keeping them from pride when they are right, always while protecting your families?
I will.
Ileana and Leslie, will you promise to remember the terror you felt when you brought these children into the world? And the joy. And remember that these two still know about as much as children know. And nourish them, and teach them how to nourish. Will you promise to help Jonny understand what his wife will need, whether it's complex or silly? When he can't or won't understand, and promise to help him take care of the 3 most important women in his life. His wife and you 2.
I will.
Dan and Charlie, will you promise to help Bri to understand what her husband will need? Some task. Whether it is complex or silly, when she can't or won't understand, and promise to help her take care of the 3 most important men in her life.
I will.
you promise to fend for Bri and Jonny, to provide them with things that they never knew they needed, to help them to swallow things bitter but healthy, like grief and disappointment, even as they wrinkle their noses?
I will.
To Bri and Jonny's parents together, will you promise to keep joining these families through hard work and merriment, and show Bri and Jonny the way in building their own family with the great examples you have set?
I will.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, family and friends. We've asked you to help Bri and Jonny in many different ways, and you love them enough to do it, so thank you for that. We now want to focus on the love between these two people, and we're going to ask Bri and Jonny to make their vows, with you as witnesses. And first, we're going to have a reading of some wise words about the kind of love that is driving these promises.
In the calling out to one another of the lovers up and down the strand, in the sound of the waves and the cries of the seagulls circling the sand, in the fragments of the songs carried down the wind from some radio, in the murmuring of the city in the distance, ominous and low.
Where the touch of the lover ends and the soul of the friend begins, there's a need to be separate and a need to be one, and a struggle neither wins. You're the colour of the sky reflected in each storefront window pane. You're the whispering and the sighing of my tyres in the rain. You're the hidden cost and the thing that's lost in everything I do.
Yeah, and I'll never stop looking for you, in the sunlight and the shadows and the faces on the avenue. That's the way love is, sky blue and black.
Bri and Jonny, will you last step forward?
I promise to treat you with love and respect every day. I promise to listen to you and to really hear you even when I'm tired. I promise to say true things even if they are hard to say or hear. I promise to always be on your team and to always have your best interest at heart. I promise to always encourage you to grow and always to foster your creativity and never to stifle it. I promise to always be willing to take another adventure. I promise to help you be a part of the people whose lives you are far away from, and to never miss an opportunity to know them better myself. I promise to love you unconditionally as I have every day since I met you. I promise to be yours. And I promise that I will love you more tomorrow than I do today, because I will know you better and understand you more.
Bri, you know I cry easily. I took my contact lenses out. So everyone is a blur except you. And it feels natural because I can't remember a time when you weren't completely the centre of my life, myself. My life began when our life began. And all my memories of my childhood and the friendships I've made, represented by all the people here, are starting to come back to me with you in them. We met, then I left for 2 nights, and at the end of those 2 nights, I vowed to myself never to do such a stupid thing again. This evening, I repeat that vow in front of everybody here. I vow never to leave you, or if I leave you, if I leave your sight, I vow never to leave the warmth in these arms, and to follow you when you're leaving, and to lead when you want to follow. I vow to look after you, to keep food always with me when you get hungry, to rub your back when you've been bending under a heavy weight. I vow to change as you change, and if we change as a family so much that we need new vows, I vow to ask the people here for help in writing them, then to take you somewhere private and make you new promises. So we are always bound together by these words that spill out of me whenever I look at you, like now. So I'll stop these words, and I'll hold your hand, and I'll look at you with my bare eyes, and in them, I hope, are the promise I can only make to you without words, but which, translated, say, I promise to love you, always.
That was awfully good.
Brother, you
Oh, never mind. I'll do a repeat. Oh, well done.